Welcome back to the channel. One of the best trainers, most famous trainers in the world, has switched up his prediction, it seems, on the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight and warns Terence Crawford and also Terence Crawford fans that Errol Spence Jr. is more than what you think he is. And this comes from Robert Garcia, and this is another interview that he has had stating these things. And I'm telling you right now, you guys that want to put your money on this fight might want to listen to this. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division because we are 25 days away from the biggest fight that we have had in a long time. Errol the Truth Spence Jr. will be fighting Terence Bud Crawford in Las Vegas on July 29th in the biggest pay-per-view that we probably biggest fight we will have seen in a long time. Despite how many people in the mainstream media are trying to flush the fight down the toilet because it doesn't work for their benefactors, the people that give them the quid pro quo crew who exchange interviews for positive press so that they can get a competitive advantage over the other people in the quid pro quo crew. This is a gigantic fight and one that has strong feelings on both sides. One person that knows a lot about Errol Spence Jr. specifically is Robert Garcia, the trainer of Mikey Garcia. He has been in the corner, on the opposite corner of Errol Spence Jr. and is telling Terence Crawford and everybody else, Errol Spence Jr. is not flat-footed. Errol Spence Jr. is not a one-dimensional come-forward fighter. That's not what he is. You all should probably stop talking about him and thinking about him in that fashion. Now, before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you so much for your continued support. It is immensely important to the channel. And thank you to the king of the super thanks, my guy, Matty O. Thank you for sponsoring the videos in the super thanks. Also, thank you guys so much just for generally talking this boxing with me. It's really a joy to be able to do this with you guys. But before we get into that, I just want to tell you real fast about today's sponsor, the Boxing Showtime app. It's a very useful app that keeps you updated on all things boxing, and you can keep up with the latest fights, where to watch them, the latest news, and a lot more. For any hardcore boxing fan like myself, and most likely all of y'all, I would definitely recommend downloading it. And it also is most definitely a big support to the channel. It's available for both Apple and Android, and you can find the link in the description below. Thanks for considering downloading Boxing Showtime's app. But let's get back into the subject matter of the video, guys. Let's get into this because I'm going to put a caveat out here first. I am not saying, nor do I believe that Robert Garcia is saying that Terence Crawford does not have a chance to win this fight against Errol Spence. Despite my best efforts, no matter how many times I say this, Terence Crawford fans never hear it. Terence Crawford is legitimately a top-level fighter that I do believe most people give him all the credit that he deserves. At least they started to give it to him when they started talking about Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. Not so much when we were talking about Terence Crawford fighting people in the 140-pound division, because at that time, the Boxing Writers Association of America would not give Terence Crawford Fighter of the Year for becoming undisputed because he said they said his competition sucked. And that is right out of the mouth of Brian McIntyre Bomac, explaining why Vasily Lomachenko got Fighter of the Year that year and not Terence Crawford. However, at this point in time, All of those people are now talking about how well-rounded, what an excellent fighter he is, how incredible he is, and how he does all these things that other people can't do, which I think are true, especially when you're looking to get, and that is evidence in the people that he fought. Now, Errol Spence Jr., on the other hand, is somehow a flat-footed fighter that everybody just chooses to stand in front of. The irony of that to me has always blown my mind. You have Errol Spence Jr., who's fought Keith Thurman, not Keith Thurman, has fought Yordenis Ugas, has fought Sean Porter, has fought Danny Garcia, is an Olympic quarterfinalist, beat former champions like Lamont Peterson, like Chris Algieri, and say what you want. None of those guys are in the business of standing in front of you and voluntarily taking punches. But it's the decision of those guys, the bad strategic decision that they made with Errol to stand and trade with him that caused them to lose and is the reason that Errol won. Now, one of these people, future Hall of Famer Mikey Garcia, and let me repeat, future Hall of Famer Mikey Garcia, former top 10 pound for pound fighter, number one guy at lightweight, probably the best guy at 140 pounds as well. At a point in time was the best at 126 and the best at 130. Fought Errol Spence Jr., and Errol Spence Jr. did what? He refused to stand right in front of Mikey Garcia, and he fought Mikey Garcia with a jab and a straight right hand, and it was Errol that decided that fight was going to be fought on the outside. Errol outpoints him, beats him 12 rounds to nothing, and beat him so bad in one round. It was a 10-8 round, in a round where he didn't get knocked down. However, I guess that was Mikey Garcia that just decided to stand there. Robert Garcia said, no, that's not the case. Errol Spence Jr. will move back. He has excellent defense. And when he wants to, if it works for his strategy, if it's an adjustment that he desires to make, he will go and fight you from the outside, because he has long arms and a very straight jab and a good straight left hand to the body and the head. So the idea that he completely, this being Robert Garcia, completely rejects the notion that Errol Spence Jr. is a flat-footed come-forward fighter that is just there to get teed off on, or to get teed off on if you just stay on the outside and throw jabs at him. Or that if you press him and you push him back, that he's just going to stand there and bang with you exactly when you want to do that. That's not the case. And before you guys put your money on this fight, again, telling you, Terence Crawford has a chance to win this fight. Not saying he doesn't. I would suggest that you go look a little bit more carefully at his opponent and look at the things that he's doing when the other guy moves forward. You don't have to look at the whole fight. Just look at what he does and how he fights when the other person decides to move forward. What you will see is that he will move back, and he will move back to the side, back to the side. He will keep that same distance that he likes. So even though this man is moving forward, Errol is not letting him get any closer than he wants to. Sometimes when this guy moves forward, Errol will dip underneath the jab and he will come forward and get shoulder to shoulder with him in a way that it is very hard to grab you when you are like this and bumping up against your shoulder. That man is very, very, very technically sound. He is very strategic. He has a lot of different looks that he's putting in there. And I think it is just I'm not sure. I just think it is the fact that when somebody throws a lot of punches and you see him going to the body, you always equate that with flat-footed fighter who can't move. And if he can't, and if he could, he would be jabbing from the outside, being slick, moving. If he could do it, he would be doing that. But that's not necessarily the case with some fighters. And it's not even fighters that can fight on the outside. They don't always do that. One of the best examples of that is Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Zab Judah. Floyd Mayweather Jr. went right at Zab Judah from the opening bell, walked Zab Judah down, cut the ring off on Zab Judah, forced to fight Zab Judah in the front. I mean, inside, because he believed that Zab Judah was a front runner, that he can get off quickly. But if you wear him down and you wear his body down, eventually he's going to give up. And that was his decision to go against a fast, powerful southpaw that has one-punch knockout power in his resume. In his arsenal, just walk forward on him, press the gas on him, and eventually wore him down to where he ran out of gas. And if Joel Judah hadn't jumped in the ring and started that fight, Zab Judah would have been out of there. Not because Floyd was slick, but because Floyd was aggressive and Floyd took the fight to him. Even though Floyd could have fought on the back foot if he wanted to, obviously. But he brought in a style that worked for the style of Zab Judah. And that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.